This is a very exciting day, a special day, as we open the Randy Starkman Media Center, where several hundred media from Canada, the Caribbean, and the Americas are going to call home for the next 2 to 3 weeks of the Games. But he was someone that athletes very quickly learned they could trust and who they really liked. Randy built special bonds with them like no other reporter that I know. He didn't just call up the athletes for interviews. He called them up to see how they or their families were doing. He bought gifts for them or their children. He was by far the biggest champion of amateur athletes and amateur sport in this country. He used to spend months interviewing athletes, getting to know every detail about them, everything about them and their stories that could make a better story in the end. And in typical Randy fashion, he used to confide in me before the Games, about a couple weeks before. He'd always say to me, you know, I don't know enough. I don't know nearly enough. And yet he knew more than almost everybody else that was going to be going to those same Games to cover them.
He was courageous. He had perseverance. He was simply one of the best sports journalists this country has ever produced. He was fearless, relentless, because he cared deeply for the sports and the people that he wrote about. The Star, Randy was a huge part of our family, and we still miss him greatly. He touched our lives and the lives of amateur athletes across our country like no other Canadian sports writer ever has, or probably ever will.
I would always give my attention to Randy first. We always knew we could trust him. Randy told our stories accurately, and he always painted me as exactly who I was. He never misquoted me, and he never put words in my mouth. He got the answers he wanted for his story because the athletes trusted him. And this was a trust that he had earned. He knew the athletes' backstories, and when he wrote about an athlete, it was always evident that he cared just as much about who they were off the field of play as the results on the scoreboard. The loss of Randy Starkman was a loss to all Canadian athletes because he was our voice.
Jeez, it's just as beautiful, but it's sad at the same time.
Look at with the kids.
So we're holding up, but we support each other.
When Randy was on the road, he would call home every day. And if he was at the kind of event he loved the most, multi-sport games like the Pan Ams, our conversations would always be interrupted. We'd be talking, and Rand would call out to some guy halfway across the room. Wolfie, V. Gates, how are you, man? Good to see you, buddy. And then he'd come back to the phone and he'd say, Margaret, someone wants to say hi. And he'd pass the phone over and I'd say, Wolfgang, hello. He didn't know how to fake a smile for the camera. And I have 30 years of his accreditation at home, and he was absolutely right. Not one of those press passes even looks like him. Because someone's saying smile, and it's too fake. He didn't want to be that fake. But put him in the media center, and there is nothing fake about that grin. He is just so happy. Rand wasn't dawdling. He just had so many stories to tell about his athletes. He wanted to do right by his athletes. He wanted to do right by his athletes' parents, a ridiculous number of whom he knew by name. And he always wanted to get it right for his readers, for his Toronto Star readers. To all of you, you honor Randy the perfect way with this Randy Starkman Press Center. This is not only the perfect gesture, but you have nailed it. And Rand would be here among all of you, closing the place every night And the volunteers would love him anyway, because they always loved him.
It really is a tremendous honor to receive this award, particularly because of the respect that I have for Dr. Tom Pashke. You know, it's been really neat to see how excited my family has been about me getting this award. It's really special that so many of them could be here today to share this, including my wife, Mary Hynes, my daughter, Ella, and my mom, Estelle. What really amazes me about the family turnout, though, is that they could read Dr. Pashke's handwritten invitations. The biggest thanks should go to my wife, Mary Hynes. I think I've probably inflicted a concussion on her, getting her to read these stories over and over again before I submit them. That's what happens when the best partner in the world also happens to be the best editor. What makes me feel best about winning the Pashke Award, though, is what we've decided to do with the prize that comes with it. I say we because it's a decision by the Starkman Hynes family. The Pashke Award, as has been mentioned here, comes with an incredibly generous prize of $10,000. I'll tell you, once word of this gets out, you're going to have a whole bunch more journalists coming for it. We've decided to donate the money to the Dovercourt Boys and Girls Club in downtown Toronto. They've been running a Raise the Roof campaign to put a second floor on the club. The people who run the club, Tony Popolo, Matteo Severino, and Manny Delia, are real heroes to me and my wife, Mary. I really believe that if Toronto had a Dovercourt Boys and Girls Club in every neighborhood, this city would be a much better place. The Pashke Foundation has supplied Dovercourt with hockey helmets in the past. I think this gesture today is really, or fits in really nicely with what Dr. Tom Pashke was about, trying to provide a safe environment for kids. Once again, I'd really like to thank the Pashke Fund and everybody involved for this tremendous honor and for the tremendous warmth that they've shown me and my family. Thank you.